Speaker
Hello?
DeLeo.
Oh, you're there. We hear you
Okay,
now.
here I am.
Is
hear
it
you now.
true that you were jumping into pools with your clothing last night, Speaker? Is that true?
I'm neither confirmed nor denied.
Thank
a
you, Mr.
hearty
Speaker.
partier down there.
Yeah.
That's the inside scoop, Speaker DeLeo. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. So, what do you think of your buddy there, Deval Patrick, last night? He was sweating and he was, all fired up. What'd you make of it?
I'll tell you, he was so passionate. He started the morning at the breakfast for the Massachusetts delegates, and I could see how fired up he was there. But when I saw him on the floor, that was much more than a convention speech. I mean, it was almost like the personal connection between he and the president. I think just came forward. He just felt so strongly, about the president's views and whatnot. But it was almost like two siblings, talking, one talking about each other and how strongly they felt.
Or like a presidential preview for 2016. What do you think, Speaker
Well,
DeLeo?
Margery, I've had some fun with the governor about that. I said, hey, what do you think? 2016, and he said to me, I'd appreciate it if you didn't start any rumors. They're not true. I'm just leaving, and that's it. And he told me that as early after the fiery speech last night. I said, boy, you sound very presidential, and he says, no, I'm happy where I am. I'm happy to leave when the term is over.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see exactly. Hey, Speaker DeLeo, the featured speaker from a Massachusetts perspective tonight is not just Bill Clinton, but Elizabeth Warren, who takes center stage in prime time between 10 and 11. But in the last couple of days, a couple interesting things have happened in the Brown-Warren race, and I'd love your take on it. Number one, John Walsh, who was with us yesterday, chair of the Democratic State Committee, did the infamous honorary girl comment about Scott Brown, for which he later apologized. And then yesterday, Judge Mark Wolf, who's a very prominent judge, federal court judge, declares that Robert Koselleck is entitled by law, by the Constitution, to a sex change operation funded by the state. 10 seconds later, Scott Brown is out saying it's an outrage, taxpayer money shouldn't go to this. So she's getting the national headlines. He's at home doing what he's doing, being called an honorary girl. Do you think Scott Brown is outflanking the Democratic candidate for the U.S. Senate on the local stuff?
I will say this. I think that Scott Brown is a very good candidate. I think that when it comes to certain issues, I think Scott Brown is very adept at in terms of pounding on them, so to speak, and taking away some of the limelight. But on the other hand, I'm looking forward to listening to Elizabeth Warren this evening. She did a great job again with the Mass delegates. So I think that's a race that's really going to continue to heat up as the days and the weeks go by.
You happen to see the Globe this morning, Speaker DeLeo? Did you happen to read Brian McGrory's column about Tag Romney stopping a hospice from coming into Belmont Hill because he was worried about his $3.9 million house losing its value? Did you see that story?
I heard about it. I
Yeah.
did not read it yet, but I did hear about.
That's got potential to hurt.
And then I will tell you something. Considering Governor Romney trying to portray himself as just one of the people and whatnot, I think that that's a story that could stick for a little bit.
Hey, Bob DeLeo, speak of this. One last question from me. I know you've been in the House a long time. Were you chair of Ways and Means when Romney was governor, or was that after?
I was chair of Ways and Means for his final 2 years.
Okay,
Yes,
what was
I
it like? Obviously we hear Deval Patrick talking about after the fact what he thinks of the Romney years. What was it like as the Democratic chair of Ways and Means, the key financial committee? What was it like working with Mitt Romney as governor?
Mitt Romney was a nice person, although some may question that. But Jim, I can never. I always have to tell the truth when I talk to you.
Please do. As opposed to other people. Go ahead, Bob DeLeo. Go ahead.
I found him to be somewhat distant in terms of governing. He was the governor at the time. I think his eyes were on the presidency, and quite frankly, Jim and Margery, I didn't find him to be very engaged in the business of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Well, a guy who's very engaged in the business of the Commonwealth is the current Speaker of the House, Bob DeLeo. Speaker DeLeo, we really appreciate your time. Enjoy your time down there in Charlotte.
Oh, it's always great to talk to you, Jim and Margery.
Thank you
Bob
very
DeLeo.
much, Speaker DeLeo, for taking the time to be with us.